Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. So, come here, lean in a little bit closer. I want to share with you guys one of my biggest writing hacks, writing secrets, and I don't want you telling everybody about this because this one's so powerful. I think it could change the world if it got out. Okay, maybe not so much, but I stumbled on this writing hack a number of years ago, and I want to share it with you guys because it's had a massive impact on how I write. And I don't claim to be a great writer by any means. I think I'm solid. I know how to communicate ideas, but I think what I do well, maybe even above average, is I'm able to communicate or write in my own voice. And I write in a way that sounds a whole lot like I speak. So if there is one thing that I'm good at, it's writing like I talk. And this is a piece of feedback I get very frequently from people, which is like if they know my voice, if you've listened to this podcast and then you've read my writing, you go, I can hear your voice. I can hear you saying these words to me. And that's the ultimate compliment to me, is that your words on the paper sound like the voice coming out of you. And that can be a real struggle because like coming out of school, a lot of us are taught to write in an overly formal way, especially if you're like in corporate America. Like the emails are just, they read like somebody's trying to write Shakespeare. And like, that's not how people communicate. It's not clear, it's not concise, and it's not authentic. And so the hack that I found for writing the way that I talk is to actually speak out the words that I'm writing as I'm writing them. Is that seriously that simple? I like to write in a room by myself so nobody else can hear me. But when I'm typing, when I'm writing, I'm almost like performing the words coming out of my mouth as I'm saying them. And then as I hear them, I go back and I can edit. I'm like, ooh, maybe that's not quite the cadence that I want. And maybe I need to insert some different formatting here to get across the pause or the dramatic nature of this concept, or to mimic the feeling of like lowering your voice and getting kind of intense, or the feeling of getting faster and getting excited and wanting to go rapidly down the page, right? Those are just aspects of formatting, but you can really get the feeling of your writing when you're speaking it as you're doing it. And I found this to be a cool strategy for connecting with your work in a way that sometimes just writing can feel almost like a thing outside of yourself. And I think a common piece of writing wisdom is you should always reread out loud your work before you publish it. And I think that's a good idea. But then the reason for that is, you might write this tweet, you might write this blog post, and then when you read it out loud, you start to notice like, okay, when I'm reading this out loud, I'm getting caught up on this combination of words. It doesn't flow. It doesn't sound right. Writing should have a melody, even if you can't hear it. It has this melody that plays out silently in people's minds. And when you just write the words and you don't speak them, you can't necessarily, you don't notice it as obviously as you do when you speak the words. So it is that common piece of wisdom that you should always read out loud your work, but my twist on it is to actually speak as you're writing. And this might, in full transparency, this might be a little bit more of an advanced tip. I don't know. I haven't actually taught this to like beginner writers. I haven't seen them using it because it might be that you need to engage different parts of your brain when you're writing by hand versus when you're speaking. And it could just be that I'm at the point now in my writing, because I've done so much of it, that those two things are naturally meshed. And so to get to that point, the recommendation would be to write more, do more reps, right? But I don't know if that's necessarily the case. This, I think, could work regardless of where you are on the ability curve. I think just speaking as you're writing, even if that's just write the sentence, go back, reread it to yourself, hear how it flows, and then make your tweaks. I think that can have a very powerful impact, but I'm not entirely sure. But again, like, this is a super secret hack, so keep it between us. Don't share it with anybody else. And that's going to do it for me, guys and gals. I'll see you here tomorrow. But until then, stay hyper focused, my friends.